A new attack skill and refinement is out for both Tikis, and if you're a dapper Deltran, like me, then it helps to have a refined lady by your side. What? No, not you! I was talking about her! You don't even look like you're in double digits! Go away! Go away! Stay here!
Fine, I'm going out with my friend.
Don't you talk to me like that, and I don't even like your friends. As a matter of fact, if you start dressing like that Now-I character, you're in big trouble.
Her name's pronounced Now-We.
Don't sass me! Let's talk about the new weapon skill. It is Breath of Fog. In addition to it only being unique to both Tikis, it gives you a Might 16 attack that is effective against dragons and Julius, and also gives you Renewal 3 effect. That's amazing. It's basically like Tiki leaned over and said, "Here, let me borrow this falchion," and just starts shaking it after it and be like a dog toy. This is refined, by the way. It also has the adaptive damage that we see with all the other breath weapons, where it chooses the weaker defense or resistance at a range of 2. Now, if that's not enough for you, don't worry, there's more. If you refine this with Divine Dew, you're going to give her a special attack and speed bond ability that within 2 of a dragon ally or a sword ally, you get +5/+5 to attack and speed. That's wonderful. We'll talk about that restriction in a little bit. I want to jump right into the first build because the question is already there. Is it worthwhile doing this if we already had the lightning breath set up? By the way, both of these builds I'm going to talk to you about work on either Tiki, and I'll give you special notes for either one that may be pertinent to them as we go along. So for this build, we're going to go ahead and give the new breath weapon, Breath of Fog there, refine it. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do basically a standard kit that you would expect. We have Aether, we have Distant Counter. In our B slot, we're going to do Quick and Riposte. And for Young Tiki, we're going to go ahead and do Attack Ploy. That works out super well because it's something that she could still use. Honestly, you could go a little lower and still expect the ploys to work, and Attack is going to help her out. We're going to talk about that just a little bit now as we're going into the obituaries. We're evaluating this win and loss record using the DPT. Link down the doobly-doo to see who's on it. There's a link down there for Arctic Fox's application that'll let you import that list to it, or if you go to the one on Andu2's GitHub, you'll be able to just select DPT as the list you're fighting, so you'll always have the freshest list there for you. Now, at first, this DPT evaluation is not looking too good because it is assuming that we are not activating the bond skill or anything really, okay? So it's actually pretty abysmal. That means that heavy blade seal that I suggested isn't working. But you still get an okay number of wins, not like something great, but I mean, like, it just shows you that you could stand there and still withstand something. So that's pretty good to see that. So let's go ahead and just move past this. Let's see what happens whenever you're actually activating the attack and speed bond ability that is on your breath weapon. This is quite a bit better. It's not like amazing, but it's a lot better. So you're getting 15 wins on initiation, and you're still getting 22 on the enemy phase, which is really good. Now, one thing to note here is if you take a look at this, looking at the obituaries that are flying by, this is good because it really does make her a mediocre one, but a dual phase unit. You can initiate and expect something to happen still, mainly because you're going to go up in there and destroy many dragons. Now, taking a look at this list, yeah, we're picking up a lot of armor once we actually activate this, which is nice, and they're all shifting over, and then we have a few draws on top of that, but you still have a good selection of people you're doing. Let's go ahead and go one step further. Attack is the best boon for this particular build right here. So let's go ahead and assume it's attack build, and we're activating the ploy. Just let's get everything in there and let's see what it looks like. Whenever this happens, you're getting 19 wins on initiation. You're 22 wins on whenever you're initiated on still. So, I mean, you are a decent defensive unit still. You have some really great pop that you're going after. I mean, you're only losing to 5 people whenever you initiate on them. There's only 5 in the DPT that kills you whenever you're bold enough to initiate on them. That's not bad at all. So, 2 questions here. First one is this better than the Lightning Breath build? Well, I mean, the typical Lightning Breath build is right here, you know? I mean, it doesn't look too different except for we actually have an A slot, which is Steady Breath. That means we don't need to rely on buffing up our speed in our attack in order to try to double and all this other stuff, because we're just going to sit there and take everything as it comes our way. Well, the answer is yes, and here's the generic DPT right here of what that looks like. It's a lot better than Lightning Breath on Tiki. First of all, Lightning Breath, it just never carried her very far. Compared to what FEH could do, compared to what Naui could do, it just doesn't go far enough. So this is why this breath is here. Not only is it a little bit more according to canon on how some of the things go in the games, but it lets you actually have a niche, and it gives you a way to build up your character in ways that the Lightning Breath just wasn't doing you any favors. The other nice thing is it lets you do this distant counter thing, because the A slot is usually what messes people up whenever they put distant counter on a unit. If a unit's not good with distant counter, it's really just because they can't continue to carry through, because they need that boost that an A skill is going to give them. Well, guess what? You have an honorary A skill in your frickin' weapon now. So now that you have that there, you can just put distant counter there and you're fine. Let's go ahead and talk real quick about how this works. You have to be within 2 of either a dragon or a red sword ally. Now, running dragons is going to be a common thing, so you know you can just keep on running your Tiki in the groups that you have. If you don't run a solid dragon team, and not everybody does, the idea here is that you have to have a good sword unit there in order to merge up with, and that's not too bad. You could go with like a really aggressive sword unit in this particular build's case, so that you could go right up there, or you could go with one that's more defensive. It actually works out rather well. And a perfect person to pair her up with would be Legendary Ike. Everybody has a Legendary Ike, and his blessing really helps out. The plus attack is wonderful. And in addition to that, that way you have 2 distant counter users. You have that extra flexibility. If you don't need them in the same spot, that's fine. If you need them to diverge, that's great. And since they take care of different threats differently, that works out really well. Unless, of course, you foddered off your Legendary Ike to that grimy character.
His name's Grima.
Oh, don't you start with me again. I don't care what his name is. You can't just drop out of school and then decide to take over the world. If he doesn't quit filling your head with that garbage, I'm gonna show him who dies first.
You're making me so embarrassed. I want to go back through the portal.
Ugh, gosh. Here's the thing, Adult Tiki runs this build better than Young Tiki. So that's a good thing. If you are looking at replacing a Lightning Breath enemy phase red dragon, you could just go with Adult Tiki, go ahead and upgrade her, because then you can invest all this stuff in her and she's easily mergeable. Now, a merge for merge, build for build Young Tiki is going to be worth more arena points, but not by enough to keep you up at night. Unless you're that close to the border, then maybe. But for the most part, the fact that Adult Tiki is mergeable is a lot more valuable. But we will talk about a build that is good for Young Tiki in a moment. Happens though if we have this honorary A skill built in and then we just give her another A skill. Well, you know, I have a build here for you, and Dire Thunder made this build here. I thought it was excellent. I talked to him about it, and I want to show this to you guys right now. So thank you, Dire Thunder, for presenting this build. This shows that you can have a nice player face dragon, and it's not stupid, it's not detrimental. You can go ahead and run this on either one of them. This one works out better on Young Tiki, though, in my opinion. To be able to use, and the best IV for her is speed, by the way, for this particular kit. Adult Tiki, you'd want to go with attack, but speed for Young Tiki for sure, and it performs wonderfully. Let's go ahead and go into the obituaries for this. This is without any kind of IV manipulation. 26 kills on initiation, and you know what, the retaliation isn't too bad. I mean, you know, there's only 6 people that are killing you if you were dumb enough to initiate into them, and then on the other side of things, that's an okay enemy phase if you're not built to be enemy phase. As a matter of fact, the fact that you're not dying to even more because you have life and death on there is really great. I mean, this build is just so nice, and you are going to have enough strength there, assuming you're getting your attack and defense bond skill. You are going to have enough attack there to be able to continue to just dominate with advantage attack. And honestly, you know, going with an AoE on a kit like this, there's no shame. It doesn't hurt anybody. Well, I take that back. It actually hurts a lot of people on both phases, so that was a bad turn of phrase. As I mentioned, this build works a little bit better on young Tiki than it does on adult Tiki, in my opinion. But if you want to know more about what Dire Thunder thinks about this and other builds, go ahead and check out the card right now. There's an awesome playlist. They're packed with so much information, you just need to watch. And that's what I think about adult Tiki. Are you excited to build her? Or are you not? Let me know down in the comments, and do me a favor. If you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time,